to episode 74 of the S&D Podcast Show. Dan, what's going on this week?
Not much. How's it going? I would first like to say thank you for everybody that listened to last week's episode, especially for hashtag this Madison. As if you didn't know, a lot of people helped out Bobby for going to Game 4. Happy the Rangers won Game 4 for him to be there. Adam Graves gave him a jersey for him to wear with Henrik Lundqvist with the Stanley Cup patch, and much more other fun things. So, really deserved. Thank you for coming on, Bobby, last week. Hopefully the Rangers continue this hot streak with this one-game winning streak, and hopefully don't lose for the next 3 or 4 games if they are able to make it. So far, the series has been phenomenal. Right now, unfortunately, if the series ended, I'd be owing Adam Rink a L&B pizza dinner date with us. So, anyway, Steve, what's on store for tonight?
Mets and Yankees.
Mets and Yankees, okay.
Woo! Mets and Yankees.
All right. Just
Might
a
as well
month till football.
I gotta start talking about them now. I mean, you gotta do it for the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Matt Saidman.
Okay.
From the Islanders.
Okay.
Gonna come on. We're gonna talk some Halak. Talk some other, a little bit more of the Islanders. We'll also talk some Stanley Cup Finals with him.
It's so funny. Halak sounds like a Middle Eastern, like, nice food. Like, I want some halak with that thing.
Is that a Jewish joke?
No, not at all. I'm just saying I would
hummus, not halak. What? You want some hummus?
No, I'm not talking about hummus. I'm just saying, like,
hummus.
It sounds.
Call it correct. You said hummus. It's hummus. Hummus.
Soy. Anyway, there's my cultural tour for the day. But we have Matt Saidman coming on later, talk a little hockey. It's going to be sad. No more hockey. And next week will be the last week of hockey.
It is going to be the last week for hockey.
Regardless.
But first, before we continue, make sure you go on the SNDPODCAST.com. Check out the latest articles on there. But also, don't forget, new to the site, there is a subscriber box.
Yes, important. Subscribe to our newsletter, monthly newsletter. Get to see all our fun articles that we all posted within that month. Be sure to check it out. Put your email. We're not going to hack you. We're not going to send a billion emails, once a month thing. We're going to have Vinman on it, so it's going to be awesome. Stay tuned for that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I also like to say, on a side note, personal note, I like to thank everybody that came and helped me support the Crohn's disease walk on Sunday. Me and Steve were there. Steve also helped out his sister, who actually is finding the same thing as me. So I like to thank everybody who helped me raise over $1,000. So that was great. So thank you for everybody that helped me out with that. But Steve, with more of that, what song do we have tonight?
Freak Show by Division 1.1.
All right, let's go, and I'll talk to you guys.
Welcome back to episode 74 of the S&D Podcast Show. Matt.
It
was really nice when they went 4 out of 5 in Philly.
Yeah, and then they had to play the rest of the road trip. And
it's amazing how they can go from hitters' ballparks to other ballparks and not do anything.
Yeah. They, how about 2 nights ago, they scored all their runs for a week, 6 runs. But yeah, that series against the Cubs was just an utter disaster. It comes down to our bullpen. What do we lose? 3 or 4 walk-off games that if our bullpen held, we would actually been respectable, and once again, we would be in the talks of maybe on the table for a division.
But we'd be in the same talks we are every year at this point of.
Yeah.
Is this the year that we're actually going to turn it around and then?
Yeah. Pretty much. It's just the same shenanigans every year. Do you start the hot seat on Terry Collins? A lot of people say no.
Sandy Alderson said he's safe.
But we're the Mets we talk about. How many times have we heard that song dance? Granted, different general manager, but we've seen it with this ownership. Hit the quick button sometimes and just try to get something. But
yes, but also they also like to save money these days.
Yes. So. The coupons, like a lot of things, like all of them. There's a lot of holes, like we've been mentioning every time we talk about the Mets. It's just so much that they need to overcome for them to just stay out of their way for them to be a decent team. And they're just not consistent every night. Where good teams, if 2 out of the 3 things work, they'll win more games than not. It's just that they're leaving their starting pitching hung out to dry more times than not. Other than Murphy and Wright, who else would you say is starting to play pretty well? Granderson's hitting a little bit better.
Granderson, hold on, I got his numbers here. Hold on,
Okay.
I spoke to Vin about him today. We're actually talking about it. Ken Rosenthal had the tweet about it. Where'd it go?
He's actually hitting over 277 since the beginning of May. He's actually been playing pretty well.
He's hitting about 220 this season.
Yeah, he's hitting 220 this season, but in that clip, he's hitting over 250 at the moment. He's been getting on base. It's just that he had such a bad start to the season. That's what's really looking at the situation. He's not playing on Thursday nights.
39 games, 7 homers, 884 OPS.
Okay, what's the average? Do you have the average?
I don't have the average.
Okay, I thought. All right,
That was from Kevin Rosenthal. So
regardless, he's starting to play a little bit better. It's not what we expected, but like we've always mentioned with players who had slumps at the start of the year, it always looks a lot worse because they don't have
224.
Numbers. Okay, since then or in general?
In general.
Okay, but that's the thing. That's what's the problem having a slump at the start of the year is they don't have numbers to cushion the slump. Like if that happened in August and he's hitting around there, there's no way he has that going on. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you look at his past couple of years, he doesn't really hit.
Not at all.
262 in 2011.
He's not.
And he hasn't hit over 232 since.
Yeah, he has not hit for average ever since, and that's what's scary. The Mets giving him money, but I like the signing so far. It's just what hurts is that they need to get another player, not the same player with Chris Young. They're basically the same player, and the Mets really messed up on it.
You mean like Nelson Cruz?
Just being one of them. But you get what I'm saying? They picked up the same exact player. If they were smart enough, they should have taken care of business and picking up something.
Not Chris Young.
Not Chris Young, because you picked up Curtis Granderson. That's the one thing I have to shake my head at.
And that was like the first signing of the offseason in baseball.
Yeah.
They literally said free agency's open, and the first thing you heard was Chris Young signs with the Mets.
Yeah.
I didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, it was just one of those things like, huh? Why? Okay, if it was a couple years ago when he hit 30 home runs for the D-backs, one thing, but it's been at least 3 years since he's had that. So you got to scratch your head. I have to say Ruben Todd has been playing a lot better. He's always in my doghouse, so you got to give him that credit. Flores has been playing decently whenever he gets a chance to play, but Ruben's been playing a lot more. But granted, he blew a save during the road trip. He's still pitching pretty well. I really do love him in the closer role. I'm not gonna lie. Do you agree with that?
I do like that as well.
I actually feel confident in the ninth inning, and if he does give up a hit, all right. But at least he has the strikeout capability, not a straight 99-mile-per-hour fastball that someone can get a hold of because it's the same pitch over and over. He is able to throw a couple different pitches. We know his stats when he's first time facing a batter in a giving inning, so that's why he's in the pen. So I'm very excited with certain things on this team, but there's other things you just scratch your head out and makes you angry while watching the game more time than not. It's the timely hitting. I was watching the game the other night and they were talking. Mets get on base. That's not their problem. It's them getting runs in. I think they're in the top 10 of getting on base, which is awesome. But they are the 18th team in the National League on actually scoring it. So that just goes to show you on how Jekyll and Hyde this Mets offense is. If they get at least half of those runs in, they would be in talks for this division talk. But right now, they are in the thick of things towards the cellar. Thank God for Philly. They had a big losing streak a couple of weeks ago. It's just not going to happen. Washington's finally going to get a little bit more healthier, so I still think it's going to be the Braves or the Nationals at the end of this season.
Nationals.
Think so? Okay. Let's switch to the crosstown rivals.
By the way, before we make that quick switch, Chris Young has never hit higher than 257 in this season. And that was 2010.
And I had him on my fantasy team that
27 homers.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He had 32 in 07 also.
Yes. I've had him both those years. Ironic. So, with that being said, we're going to switch it to the Yankees. Tanaka. That's all I need to say is
there's nobody else on that team.
He's been such a stud lately. He's worth every penny. I actually want to go to Yankee Stadium. You know how much I hate going to Stadium, not because I'm just the fake it is. So it's really exciting for the Yankees on how Tanaka is. It's just the rest of the starting pitching that's been a living nightmare. Yeah. And the bullpen. I hate to say I told you so, Yankees, and I know they knew going into the season that Robertson's not going to be Mariano Rivera, and they finally know what it feels like to not have Mariano Rivera as their closer, pretty much.
Speaking of the bullpen, T-Bone, Tom is going to have an article coming out about the After life of Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, Kelly finally came back as the setup. We'll see what happens with that. It's just the Yankees got to get hitting as well. Their bats are slowly waking up. Ellsbury had a game-winning hit the other night, which was good to see, especially since the Yankees paid him so much money. Hopefully he gets going a little bit. I saw Brian McCann's been playing a little bit decently. Granted, I finally traded him in my fantasy league, and now
That's why he's playing better.
Yep, pretty much. But the Yankees are playing okay. Like they're just, the Blue Jays are not losing at the end of the day.
It comes down to
And the Orioles are not as bad as well. It's really just the Yankees are finding ways to lose when they need to find wins quickly. And if it wasn't for those two teams that I mentioned before, the Yankees would have a shot of winning. They don't have enough pitching, like we've always mentioned with the Yankees' problem, and the timely hits as of right now. So the Yankees got to find ways. It's still early in the season. We all know the Yankees can always find a way to get trades. It's just that they have to stick with the team they have because they spend so much on it.
I agree with you. Is it safe to say Asdrubal Cabrera is going to be their shortstop next year?
I could see that.
28 years old, free agent, Jeter retiring.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, just making sure on that one. Unless there's Starling Castro to the Yankees rumors meet up again like always.
It's gonna start that everybody and their mother is gonna be a Yankee. Yankees how it is. It's just the way it is with Yankees. If you have some sort of talent, you can be going to the Yankees. But I don't because the Yankees don't have a good farm system. So any sort of player, they would have to give up a nice decent style of a player, and I don't think that's really gonna happen because they want prospects for those type of players. They're not gonna give up one of their stud pitchers during the game. So, but what do you think? What do you think? Like, they
don't have prospects to give up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the Yankees are in a tough spot. They really are in a tough spot. They got to find the right deal and find a way to boost up prospects that not a lot of people want, quite frankly. I'm happy that they didn't trade away Betanzas, which they were rumored to do so many times during the last couple of seasons. He's been studly out of the bullpen. It's going to be interesting to see what the Yankees want to do with this young arm. He shut down the Mets a month ago.
Right.
When he was in long relief. It looks like they really want him to become the starter of the future, but we've seen that how many times coming out of the Yankees with Jabba and Phil Hughes. You gotta leave him alone. You just gotta leave him alone and have him do what he has to do instead of tinkering with him. How about Phil Hughes? He's happy he's not a Yankee.
Like I said to you, big ballpark.
And I agreed with you, and it just goes to show you that he's finally out of Yankee Stadium and he's able to pitch his games and his styles and everything like that. So congratulations to Phil Hughes for shutting people down.
Yeah.
You got to give him credit.
And you know what else he did? He went to a market that doesn't really pay attention to baseball.
Exactly. Unless they're winning, of course. But that goes for any team. I'm sure their fan base is fine. It's pretty much the fan base the Mets have last year for the All-Star game.
Yeah. People are going there because it's got the All-Star game this year. So.
Pretty much. So it is what it is. Who do the Yankees have this week?
In Seattle.
They got the road trip on.
In Oakland. And then home against the Blue Jays.
Okay. Blue Jays is going to... How about the Metsies? Metsies are home this weekend.
Padres.
And
then I think they go someplace.
Okay. So let's see. We forgot to mention with the Mets that Travis Darnell got sent down. About time, kind of. Yeah. I just hope...
We're gonna go see if he can hit in Vegas, where everybody hits.
I kind of hope that he starts hitting. Especially
if you can't hit in Vegas, you're...
I'm just hoping he gets his mind right. And it looked like the big leagues were just too much for him to handle. A couple of his home runs, one was at Yankee Stadium, which was a Yankee Stadium home run. I was there, just like, all right, awesome. But hopefully he seems like a good kid, and he has his mind straight and everything like that. So hopefully the bat follows him and he gets called back up soon. That's all I got to say about that. Steve, take it away.
We're going to be right back after a little more Division 1.1. Big show. With Matt, talking some hockey.
SNDPODCAST is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by Major League Baseball or any of its affiliates.
Welcome back to episode 74 of the S&D Podcast Show. Dan and Steve are here. Now we'd like to welcome from LIB Magazine, Matt Saidman. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Matt. Long time no speak. How's it going?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back. Appreciate the invite.
Not a problem. Anytime. So before we start with the Stanley Cup that everybody wants to talk about, since you covered the New York Islanders, the Islanders are making somewhat of a little noise in the transaction department with signing Halak, and they also made a trade for Dan Boyle from the San Jose Sharks. Tell us a little bit about those two moves that the Islanders did before we talk about the Stanley Cup.
Overall, I think it's a great sign. Fans really hoping that Snow can make some noise, upgrade the team, and especially in goal and on defense. And they're at least seeing the effort. It's certainly in goal. Great to have Halak, he's there. But you're seeing the shift in philosophy, and you're seeing Snow start to really figure out what he has to do and what his best, his smartest play at getting talent here is. And really, it's trying to put the playing field towards him a little bit. And the way he's trading for guys, for guys' rights like that, 4th and 5th round draft picks, that really don't mean a whole lot. It's brilliant, to be honest with you. I mean, it's to just be one of 29 teams on on July 1st trying to pull a guy away from where he is. It just doesn't work for the Isles. People don't want to play here yet, whether it's a building, whatever else. Doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen a lot. So this way, at least Garth has his time to be heard. Guys, just like Boyle's doing right now, is talking to people about Long Island, about the Islanders. And that's what you want him doing. I mean, if he wasn't thinking about it, it's not a place really you would think a guy who's, 37, going to be 38 soon, would really want to go to finish his career. But if he's sold on, what it's like to live here, or, maybe the fact that the team can make noise in, if not next year, maybe the year after, or the year after that even. But that's really what Snow has to do. He's got to get these guys right. He's got to get himself really an exclusive window to talk to them. And you saw it work with Halak, and that move I thought was great. I think he's a solid goalie who really could use a shot to be a number one starter. He'll get that here. I think it's a really good sign for the summer of what Snow's doing, and I think fans expect it to keep going.
All right, you mentioned him being the number one starter, so what's your view? Who's the backup goalie?
At this point, I don't think he's on the roster yet, to be honest with you. I think they go out and get... Yet. Well, just, in terms of would they bring a guy like Poulin back, I don't really see him being on the Isles. Maybe he signs a deal, two-way deal into Bridgeport again. But, it's tough to say. I think it could be someone who could surprise you. It could be a true backup, a guy like Grice, maybe, Jonas Gustafsson, throw out some names like that. But really, it could be one of several guys like that. Tough to say. But it'll be, you hope it'll be someone who's capable of coming in there and starting, 20, 25 games if necessary, and someone you can at least trust, if hopefully I'll get to the playoffs and something was to happen to Halak. So that's probably a position I expect to get filled in probably early July.
What's the odds you can see Nabby coming back and being the backup?
I can certainly see it. Staple reported that they've been talking about it. You saw last year he can still play. I mean, he's not the guy you want to ride, but he can still win you hockey games. So I think as a backup, he's probably on the above average side of most of the other guys who are out there, at least in terms of experience. If you get to the playoffs, at least he's been there before. And I think it'd be great for the room. Just from being in the room with them. I mean, guys love him. He's a leader out there. You hear him, yelling at guys in practice, and games. He really communicates. He's part of the glue that holds the team together. So I think it'd be great if they brought him back, and I think it's a decent chance.
All right, you mentioned Dan Boyle.
Right.
So we were actually talking before a little bit about this. A lot of people thought, and including me as one of them, that they brought Boyle in because of the concussion problem with Wisnowski. What's your opinion on that one?
I don't really think those two things are related. I think that if Sndp was 100%, was totally fine last year, there was no concerns. I still think they'd want to add a guy like that. I mean, really, why wouldn't you? To have two good puck-moving veteran defensemen like that who are capable of, offense. And, I mean, it'd be ideal if both of them really are 100%. I think maybe, you could look at Boyle if he was to sign as sort of Sndp insurance, but I still think both Sndp and the Isles are hoping that he can come back and be a major contributor. He didn't look great towards the end. I mean, last time I saw him, granted it was back on breakup day, whenever that was, mid-April, I think. But he didn't look great, but he sounded hopeful. The team is too obvious. He's under contract, but if he can have a good summer, if he can work out hard, hopefully he's completely symptom free. Hopefully he can come back and be the Lubo that he is when he's on the top of his game.
Absolutely. Let's hope so for that. Another free agency question. Since I'm talking about more like how the Brooklyn Nets did their business when they were the New Jersey Nets. Unfortunately, this season is the last season at the Coliseum. Do you think that the Islanders are going to try to persuade players to sign a couple-year deal that, hey, listen, this season is going to be a little rough at the Coliseum, but the year after we're going to have a brand new facility that's going to be 3 years old at the time of them moving in. It's state-of-the-art, as we know, and come play with us. We're going to hopefully make the playoffs in a few years in a brand new facility, pretty much like how the Brooklyn Nets did it. Do you? I know it's completely different sports to be saying, yeah, that could definitely happen. No, that can definitely happen. Do you think some sort of way, a hockey version of it, do you see that way working if I was Gart Snow?
Not yet, because...
Or it's going to be in next year when the free agency comes. Oh, we have a brand new building. That's the only reason why no one really wanted to come to Yon.
Yes and no. I mean, it'll certainly help. It'll hurt less and not having an old building like the Coliseum. But really, I think players want to win and they want to be in a good situation. And I really think that comes before, really the facilities and everything. But I don't know if they're going to make a gigantic splash this summer at this point, because I don't know if they really have to. They already got their goalie. They could sign Boyle, great. Otherwise, maybe they try to favor someone else's rights, or they sign, like an Keaton, mid-level defenseman, a guy like that. I certainly been talking about. I don't see them getting Niskanen because, everyone wants him. But as far as forward, I mean, I could see them trying to go for a guy to put up there with Tavares, even just for a year or two while the other guys develop, shooting for a guy like Gaborik or Mike Camilleri, a guy like that who could play, sort of like they did with boys, get them for a year, see what they do together. But, I mean, guys like that are going to want long-term deals. They're probably going to command long-term deals. I don't know if the Owls really want to invest in guys like that right now with the way the prospects are up and coming. And so I think you want improvement this year, but you still have to see what you have a little bit in your younger guys before you just start bringing guys in. But that being said, I mean, Garth could make a big splash at the draft trade-wise, for all we know. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's always funny. Islander fans always think that there's always going to be a trade. I can't count how many times I've been at a draft party. Everybody getting excited. Oh, we're going to trade a pick right now. It never happens.
Well, look, for what it's worth, Art Staples on record saying he thinks that there's at least a good chance that they trade the pick. And not that, I mean, he's probably guessing like the rest of us, but if he says something, I at least listen. So I mean, look, I have no idea if they're going to trade it. I could see them trying to trade it, just given the position they're in now and how aggressive Garth has been. I think if you could upgrade a team, I think he'd like to do it now. I certainly hope he can do it now. But I think fans should be excited either way. I think this is a great start. Got their goalie. I mean, really, that's first and foremost. They got their goalie. I do believe in Halak. I think it was a good signing. Never forget seeing him do it with Montreal. Back, I think that was 07, 08. That run he took them on, and how he played in those playoffs. Wasn't that long ago. He's still a young man. He should be in his prime, and I think he's going to be the guy that they're all hoping he'll be.
All right, so we're talking a little bit of Gar Snow right now. Before we go into my question about the forwards, do you think Gar Snow's looking to make these moves because he feels new owner could mean possibly a job security problem for him?
I don't think so. I don't really think he's motivated by that. Honestly, I think he thinks it's kind of time. I mean, look, he didn't. He didn't go get Vanek last year, so the team could be as bad as they were. He thought he had a better team last year. Getting rid of Bouchard and Regan the way he did was sort of like admitting some of his mistakes. Going to get the goalie so quickly was also showing, clearly he knew what he did wrong. Same thing with going and getting, a stud D-man like Boyle. I think he's motivated by the fact that he saw the second half of last year, what he's got, and he knows that if he can add some real pieces to it, the mid-level talent on this team and the top end could really thrive. I mean, if Strome, really comes into his own next year, and even has, a decent second season, you can expect production from him, what his line is on. A guy like Bailey, who's going to be 25, he's an X factor. If guys like him and Grabner can score, I mean, if they can get someone who can play with Tavares, to really dominate with them, well, that could be a really good, really deep team. So I think Snow knows the team isn't as bad as the record showed last year, but that they have a couple of glaring holes. And he's going hard immediately to try to fix them. So you got to give him that, and you got to figure he's not going to stop.
All right, you mentioned.
But I'm sorry. But I don't think it's about ownership. Really, I think it's about timing. I think it's about admitting that he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough last year. And I think it's to give the fans of the College. I do think it's really important for the franchise and everyone there, from Charles on down. I think it's important to them all to give the fans a real nice send-off in their last season at the Coliseum. I mean, really, I think Snow, he's been around this organization, this fan base enough. He knows how important it is for the Isles to go out, at least respectively, from the Coliseum and try to make it a season to remember. And I really think that's what's motivating him. I don't think it's ownership. And you got to figure he knows, and he's in the know of everything with how close he is with Charles. So if they're going to get sold, he's probably been in meetings. He's probably been involved in all that. And chances are, Charles may be looking to just sell a portion of the team, in which case, it'll still be his decision, as far as whether Snow stays or goes. But really, I think Snow's motivated by timing, opportunity. I think he's really starting to get it, too, with, what he's got to do to get guys here. He's got to trade for them, and, like he did for Wisnowski. He's got to pull guys off waivers when they're available, like Nabby a couple years back. And he's got to give himself a leg up to talk to guys. And I mean, look, if you look at the percentage of 4th and 5th round picks that really make it to the NHL, it's pretty low. So really, if you lose a pick that low on trying to trade, on trying to give yourself a window to talk to a guy, as far as I'm concerned, it's well worth it. And obviously it is for them too, because they're doing it. But it's a smart thing to do. And, you can see it working. It's working this summer. Whether it works with Boyle or not, it was still worth it. And I think you're going to see more of it. But really, what Snow's doing, I think he sees an opportunity. He sees how good Tavares is. He sees, some of the other pieces that he put together, and he knows that if he can really complement it with some real talent and the right pieces, on the back end, including a goalie, I think he really wants to give the fans a special season, and he's really trying for that.
All right, so we were talking about forwards. Now, do you think that there's a possibility the guy's already on the team, like Brock Nelson? He showed a lot towards the end of the season, and he's a guy who can go stand in front of the goalie and make something happen, it seems like.
Yeah, they're real big on Brock, and they should be. I mean, he's a big kid. He's kind of lanky right now, but he's going to fill out. Really, he's going to be a big boy in this league. And you could tell a couple times last year he started to really feel it. And you could tell by the way he skated, but he's going to be a player in this league. And at some point, if the Isles really want to get serious, they're probably going to have to trade some of these guys and to really bring in kind of players who could win you championships. But you hope he's not one of them. I'm hoping to see him in the Isles sweater for a long time because I think he's got a ton of potential and really belongs. Whether it's center or wing, he belongs on the top two lines of a good team. Maybe if not quite yet, I think it's where he's going to be for a long time.
Okay, awesome. We're going to switch gears a little bit, talk about the Stanley Cup Finals between the Rangers and the Kings. It's been so far a very great, well, not great. It's been so far a solid Stanley Cup playoffs for the series so far for both the Rangers and the Kings. The Rangers, for the most part, have dominated most time scoring-wise, except for Game 3, except where it mattered the most, both overtimes, the Kings found a way to win. What do you? What's your take on the series so far? What has been the biggest factor that you take away after watching the last 4 games of the series?
Well, I listen to a lot of like sports talk radio and everything, and I hear a lot of Ranger bashing, and especially over the last couple of days, before last night. I think they've looked pretty good. I mean, I look at Game 1. I know the Kings dominated the third period, but the Rangers, quick kind of stole that one for them. Game 2 was a little more even, but Game 2, the Rangers hit a post in overtime. Yeah, that close to winning that game. I mean, really, the Rangers could have came home from LA up 2-0, and they would have earned it. They're just they're not the team that LA is. They've got to capitalize on opportunities when they get them. They've got to rely on Lundqvist to shut the door like they did last night, and they've got to get all the puck luck, which I know we've heard all about. But really, you saw it last night. That was the formula. Bang in the couple of great chances you get. Make sure you put them home, and then hang on for dear life. And that's what you expect to do when you got a guy like Lundqvist. Obviously, pucks aren't always going to stop on your goal line for you.
Twice, may I add.
Yeah, twice. Yep. But really, the Rangers. I find it hard to believe they're going to win 3 more in a row against LA, but they're poised. I mean, really, if they steal another one, then really it starts to get interesting. When you come home, with the record Lundqvist has facing elimination at home, and get to a Game 7, who knows then who can steal that one? But Lundqvist is the better goalie when he wants to play like the better goalie. But quick outplayed them for sure. And definitely in games, I think it was 2 and 3. But the Rangers, I mean, they've come back from 3-1 before this year, so I'm not counting them completely out yet. That they're still alive, but they really need to kind of do what they did last night. Play really almost perfect defense. Not that they played perfect defense last night, but try to play as close to perfect defense as you can. Hope your goalie comes up huge. Hope the bounces go your way, and just try to bury a couple past their guy, and quick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of those like frustrating series if you're a Ranger fan. It's because like you mentioned before, they could have easily been up 2-0 or be up in the series right now if it wasn't for the unlucky bounces. Granted, that's part of hockey, and the Rangers finally got their bounces last night. It's really going to be interesting to see what happens on Friday night when they play Game 5, which way the bounces go. Because if the Rangers didn't blow a 2-goal lead in either Game 1 or Game 2, this, like we mentioned, the series would have been completely different. It's really been the difference of the series has been the third periods, where the Rangers have just not collapsed, but been caught on their feet in their own zone, having to hold on for dear life, and would get a stupid penalty or just have a collapse in the breakdown in the communication and leave Henrik out to dry. So it really is interesting. I have a feel. I'm not saying the Rangers are going to win it. Unfortunately, I lost. I'm going to probably lose a bet with a friend of ours in California, but it's okay. That as long as the Rangers are going to fight back, and they're going to give everything they have. I know it sucks that they're going to lose the Stanley Cup most likely than not, but it's really going to be interesting to see how much left in the tank do the Rangers have for them to at least fight another day after another game if they bring it to Game 6. That's what I'm excited for to see. I'm excited to see what if all this happens and what kind of energy the Rangers are going to get off of it if after last night's win.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a desperate Rangers team on Friday. I think they're going to bring everything they have. And, I mean, really, it wouldn't surprise me if they walk out of LA with a win.
Neither do I.
You know, but at the same time, the Kings, you know, I mean, there's just every cliche, you know, they've been there before, they know how to win, you know, heart of a champion, and you throw them all out there, you know, they all apply to this team. And, you know, they're just so deep. And I mean, really, they're so good in so many different ways on so many levels. You know, their weapons they never stop coming because they're never, you know, one or two dangerous players always on the ice. That's just how the Kings are built. You know, at least one or two. But you know, the Rangers the margin of error is so small when you're playing a team like that. And you know, really, if things go the Kings' way at all, it's going to be awfully tough for the Rangers, really. You know, even next game, just you know, certainly not looking great for them. But you know, hope they keep fighting. You know, I'd like to see them make a series of it. Sweeps aren't really that much fun anyway. You know, plus I want to keep watching hockey. So
exactly, that seems to be the general consensus. What also was going to say? How funny is it that the Devils series 2 years ago happened the same exact way so far? That the first two games, the Devils lost in overtime. And then Game 3, they got laughed out of the building. And then Game 4, they came back and won. They won Game 5. Actually, that was in New Jersey. No, Game 5, the Devils won. And then Game 6, they lost it. It's really amazing on how similar those two series have been. Granted, it's been a couple of years. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's certainly you know, mirroring it a little bit. Yeah, but you know, for sure. I mean, this it's been a fun series. You know, definitely with the two overtimes and how close last night was. I mean, they've been good games. They've been close. They've been exciting. You know, really could have went either way. The Rangers, you know, couple little things happen differently, and they're up 3-1 in this series right now. So, certainly be frustrating for their fans if they do lose the series. But you know, really, just one game at a time. You know, that's all they could do. You know, not a nice easy cliche for you, but that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They win one more, they get to come home, and they know they can take care of business at home. And then, you know, at that point, who knows?
Absolutely. All right, let's play the hypothetical game. If the series ended today, not naming Lundqvist or Quick, who would win the Conn Smythe Trophy?
I'd probably say Gabrick.
Okay. Yeah.
Or, maybe Doughty.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think I would give it to Doughty before I would give it to Gabrick. But Gabrick is having a playoff of his life. Especially
He really is.
Especially after the fact he never really performed as a Ranger in the playoffs as well. He was demoted times.
I think I'd give it to Gabrick. Williams has been great, but I still put him third behind those two. Really, I think Gabrick, especially if he pops in another, goal or gets a couple more points, think you almost have to. But, could always go to the goalie too. That's always a possibility. So, but if it was over right now, my money would be on Gabrick.
Okay, fair enough. Absolutely.
I agree. I agree with that one, especially because I said Gabrick in Game 6 in overtime was winning the series.
What an Islander fan.
Still wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me
How
at all.
fitting would it be, though, if Gabrick
won it in overtime at the Garden for the Kings?
Well,
That'd be something. Yeah.
No one wanted him to go except for Tortorella, and he's not even here anymore. That's what hurts about it the most. But honestly, I'll be honest with you, I absolutely like Brassard. Brassard brings a lot to the table, and Dorsett is a very good fourth liner. So what they've got from him, I know it's not Gabrick's style of goal scoring. They got two key pieces for this year's Ranger team. So
Moore was part of that trade too, right?
What's up?
Wasn't Moore part of that trade too? John Moore, right?
No, he was a draft pick, I believe.
No, he was traded from Columbus, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was the Gabrick trade or if it was one of the other ones. I thought he was the third piece of that trade. But either way, I mean, he's a player for them too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's finally back too after missing those 2 games at the start of the series.
Yeah.
So he's been steady as well. I don't know what's going on with Dan Girardi. Unfortunately, bad luck, and wherever he's been, bad luck's been on his side. So hopefully he's a great guy.
Hasn't been. Yeah, he hasn't been as bad as they're saying. I mean, he's been victimized a couple times. But
it just happened to be at the 2 worst times possible.
Yeah, I mean he plays so much, and I mean, yeah, he's not the quickest guy, obviously, but he'll put his face in front of any shot, anytime if he thinks it'll maybe keep it out of the net. I mean, he's that kind of player. He'll go to war for you. He's probably playing hurt, I'm sure.
Well, he did get hit in the Nuggets game, too.
The funny part about last night was when his stick broke, right on Brown's goal. Mm-hmm. His stick didn't really break. That was just kind of like the butt end, top piece flew out. He could have still played with that stick. That's not considered a broken stick. So, not that it really mattered ultimately because the Rangers still won, but he didn't have to drop that stick.
Interesting. Yeah, from what I thought, it just completely shattered, and it was just completely bad luck on his part. But it's really crazy. The 2 biggest plays so far in the series has been off of Dan Girardi, and that's what's really been frustrating. The first goal on Game 3 hits off his skate. He's just been bad luck. It's just been bad luck on him. Hopefully that changes Game 5. It's just really that, this guy's been on the Rangers for so long. He deserves to be getting praises, and it's ugly how it works sometimes, kind of thing.
He made some great plays too last night that of course no one remembers.
Of course.
People only remember the bad stuff,
Of course.
But he's a player for you. He's going to play an awful lot. He's going to do a lot of little good things that most people aren't going to recognize. But he's a horse for him. He's a big reason, a big part of why they are where they are. He doesn't quite get enough respect from Ranger fans, especially these days. I don't think, but that's typically how Ranger fans are. They have one defenseman that they get on and they don't like, whether it's Tom Pody or Wade Redden or Marek Malik. I mean, way they get with defensemen sometimes.
And does
So, yeah, but Girardi, it'd be nice for him if he could stop, getting victimized for these mistakes and at least not making it look quite as bad sometimes.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt. At Matt Saidman on Twitter. Check him out. Islander fans. You going to be at the draft party?
Yeah, I'll probably be covering it, if I had to guess.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
You know what they say? There ain't no party like an Islander draft party.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much for joining us this week.
Yeah, you got it, guys. Thanks for, thanks for inviting me back. Glad to be here. Looking forward to, seeing you and talking to you guys again soon.
Absolutely.
Definitely,
Thanks for
Matt.
coming on.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you got it. Bye, guys.
SNDP Podcast is in no way associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
Back to the S&D podcast. You just listened to, of course, tonight's show, Freak Show. Thanks again to Matt Saidman coming on the night show, talk a little bit about the Islanders' upcoming moves this offseason, and of course the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, especially being the Stanley Cup final between the Rangers and Kings. What do you think? When do the Kings end the series, or when
Game 6 overtime,
or the Rangers
number
come
3.
back in
Game
7?
Game 6 in overtime, like I've been saying. And you know what's funny? You know that Time Hop app?
Okay.
I got an email from it today.
Yeah.
And one of my photos is exactly from 2 years ago. Is a screenshot that I sent to our friend Jason.
Okay.
That said Kings in 6.
Okay.
For the series against the Devils.
Okay. It's interesting.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Freaky.
All right. I don't know. I'm still gonna. I want to win this bet with Adam Ray. So Rangers gonna win it in 7. It's just the way it was with Madison definitely saving the game last night twice with the luck. You gotta give just something special and fluky happened last night twice at the goal line. Honestly, all Henrik had to do was move an inch and that goal puck was in the net too.
Or like the one post said, someone tweeted out, all he had to do was fart and the puck was in the net.
It's just the Rangers needed that luck last night. It could easily be a different series if they won at least one of those games in LA. So the Rangers got to find a way to contain, play one shift at a time, and take care of business in LA and get it to Game 6 at the Garden. Because anything can happen, and the Rangers fans will smell blood in Game 6 because it will be the last game at the Garden regardless.
Yeah.
So regardless, the Ranger fans are going to be ready to go and cheer. Other than Game 3. Other than the stupid Pop Van Sucks chant when they're down 3-0, which I know a lot of people think is obviously a lot.
They're also playing the Kings in the Stanley Cup final.
It makes no sense. But that's just.
But then again, they do that when they're playing the Panthers and
it's just Ranger fan logic. I don't get it still either. But I still think at the end of the day, I'm going to win ears and wings, hopefully. But if I lose, I'll enjoy some Mamoni Garden. But
you win no matter what.
One shift at a time, the Rangers got to just take care of what they are set to do. Kings are a better team. They could turn it on in a matter of seconds, and Henrik said that in the postgame to Pierre Maguire last night. They just got to stay the course, steady the storm, and just take care of their own business. That's all they have to worry about. So I'm obviously being a false optimistic right now because I want to see at least 3 more hockey games. I want to see 3 more hockey games because hockey's not over yet. Which, of course, a lot of people.
3 games and 75 overtimes.
Hey, I'll take it as long as we don't have to talk baseball by.
How about this? Game 7, just get us to training camp.
Just getting us to training camp. That's all I'm asking.
Overtime till training camp.
Oh
and once
God.
the day before Giant training camp opens,
the Stanley Cup wins.
The Stanley Cup game will end.
Yeah, sign me up for that. But
and they'll take like that one day every week off so we can actually talk about it.
Okay, sounds good to me. But, well, honestly, it's been a solid series. It really has been a solid series, and both teams are giving everything they've got. The Rangers finally made a counterpunch. Been rope and doping the last first 3 games, and can they keep the offense going in a boxing terminology? It's really up to them now. They got to keep it going and have Lundqvist just protect Lundqvist. Hold down the fort in front of Lundqvist. Have Lundqvist see the puck like we mention all the time. One thing I do have to mention, Rangers got to do something on the power play. We've been saying it all playoff long, all season long. They got to figure something out next season. They got to get They have to put more trust in their defensemen. Dump and chase has been iffy. When the Rangers get cycling down in the bottom of their zone, they really are able to make damage, and that's when the Rangers have done their best work. With Zuccarello, Hagelin, whenever the Rangers have used their speed around those areas, Rangers have been able to find ways to get to them. So they got to keep that going. Do you agree with me on that?
I agree. We've been saying that for a while. I think Doug Waite took over their power play.
It's just that they just been always looking for the extra pretty play instead of shooting the puck on net. It's just sometimes they just have to take bounces. Like last night, the first goal was a tip. Granted, it wasn't a power play goal, but it was a typical setup for a power play because the penalty was just finishing, and Pouliot was able to get in there. The Rangers need to get bodies in front of the net, and that's the problem with the Rangers. They like to stay outside and the perimeter. Defenses are gonna stay that and collapse in the box. That's the biggest problem with the Rangers. They need to get those bodies to be in the front of the net so the guys are able to have those shooting lanes. That's the problem with the Rangers. That's my biggest pet peeve with Rangers, is they don't help themselves on the power play. So
SNDPODCAST.com.
of course, I'm
Subscribe.
sure. Subscribe to us, of course, on iTunes and all the other podcasting things. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, like we mentioned. We just started that up today. We're gonna have Vinman take care of that. We're gonna have that once a month, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening. And
thanks, Matt, for coming on with us and joining us this week.
Enjoy your playoff hockey. You know who you're rooting for.
Little bit of it left.
Little bit of it left. Enjoy it, regardless of the team you're rooting for. Hey, it's the last bit of hockey. It's like how football fans feel for the Super Bowl. Enjoy. How about the NBA Finals? Who cares? Anyway.
Hey, wait. We made it through the whole show without a cramp.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. LeBroning right now. Anyway, enjoy. We'll see you next week. Hopefully there's more hockey to talk about.
Have a good one, guys.